What's up, motherfucker?
Hold on, I hope y'all watching this shit.
First round, real quick.
That are in those training rooms with him know how good.
Because he just knocks dudes out real quick in the first round.
Yeah, but now we're gonna get a good. I might fuck with this guy. He just, to me, I thought he was a con artist. No, just based off his look.
They're edgy. Holy shit! What the hell just happened?
What's up, motherfuckers? Welcome to G.S.R. Gonzo'S Sports Room. Monday, March 28th, 2022. Got a pretty big show tonight. Talk the Ncaa basketball tournament. We're down to the final four of a big. Is Coach K going to go out on top with another Ncaa title as they face the North Carolina Tar Heels this weekend? Got some NFL news, possible overtime rule change. Deshaun Watson was introduced on Friday. Had his opening press conference with the Cleveland Browns. We'll talk NBA, getting close to the playoffs. Is Boston the best team in the East? Are the Suns running away with the West? The Lakers, are they going to make the playoffs? And I'm sure we'll even talk about a few other things as well. But before we get to that, don't forget, well, actually, before we get that guy announcement, starting Wednesday, March 30th, which is this Wednesday, we're going to have our official time change for shows here on the GSR network. GSR, this show will be Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays at 11 p.m., so it's going to stay the same as it is tonight. Our Easy Money, a sports betting show. Our sports betting show is going to be moving from 1 p.m. Eastern time to 3 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. And it's also going to be start airing on the All Sports All Plays Network, ASAP. So you'll be able to still find it here on the Gonzo'S Sports channels and on the ASAP Sports Network starting March 30th. Again, Easy Money, a sports betting show, will move to 1 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. And this show, G.S.R, Gonzo'S Sports Room, is going to be at 11 p.m. on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. You can still find both shows in podcast form on Apple Podcasts, Anchor Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Most places you listen to podcasts, you can find us. So that hasn't changed. Also, we have a pro wrestling podcast, Gonzo'S Wrestling Room, GWR. New episodes of it drop every Sunday at 9 a.m. You can find them on Apple Podcasts, Anchor Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Most places you listen to podcasts at Gonzo'S Wrestling Room, or you can find it on YouTube, on our YouTube channel at Gonzo'S Sports Room if you'd like to watch the video version of it. While you're on the YouTube channel, please hit that subscribe button. We greatly appreciate that. And if you're watching on Facebook and Twitch, please hit the follow and like buttons. We'd also appreciate that as well. But all right, let's jump right into to some sports. Let's start with the NCAA. March Madness has been good. Tournament's been real good. You had a Cinderella make it to the Elite Eight, and not only a Cinderella, a 15 seed. They didn't fare well. In the Elite Eight game. As North Carolina blew them out. I was hoping St. Peter's was going to be able to stay with them and maybe advance to the Final Four because it'd been cool to see a 15 seed advance that far. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. But tournaments, I think it's been a great tournament. I mean, you had some upsets. You've had a lot of close games. The Elite Eight games wasn't as good. We didn't have hardly any close Elite Eight games, especially on the 2 games yesterday. Wait a minute. Well, the 2 games Saturday wasn't terrible, but the 2 games yesterday wasn't close. I think the Final 4 games are going to be a lot closer. This Duke North Carolina game, I'm really looking forward to. They played each other twice this season. Both teams won on the other team's home floor, as Duke blew North Carolina out at home, and then North Carolina blew Duke out at home on Coach K's last game, coaching Duke on the home floor. So North Carolina won the last game. This will be the rubber match. I think it's going to be one hell of a game. I'm going with North Carolina just because I think they might be in Duke's head a little bit after the way they played. But I can also see Duke. They want revenge. Plus, they're trying to make history. Even more history by Coach K going out on top and winning another national championship. We'll see. I think the winner of that Duke or North Carolina game, whoever wins that is going to win the national championship. I'm going with North Carolina. Kansas and Villanova, I think it's going to be a fun game as well. I think I'm going with Kansas in this game just because I think Kansas has gotten hot at the right time. They're playing the best basketball they have all season here in the tournament. Villanova is a tough team, Moses. I think it's going to be a back and forth game. I expect both of these Final Four games on Saturday to be real close games. I'll be flipping over to check them out while I'm watching WrestleMania Saturday night. Of course, this is WrestleMania weekend, so be watching WrestleMania on Saturday night since it's a 2-night event starting this year. But no, overall, I think the NCAA tournament has been great. I think the Final Four on Saturday is going to be real interesting. Like I said, I'm really looking forward to that North Carolina Duke game. I think that's going to be a real close game. I think it's going to come down to the end. And either way, it's going to be a great story. But if Duke can win and get Coach K back to the national championship for a chance to win another national title in his last season, I mean, for a chance for Coach K to get that storybook ending. And so far, these Duke players have lived up to the pressure. There was a lot of pressure coming from the outside anyway, from the media and everybody else. All the talk you heard was how they got embarrassed by North Carolina on their home floor in Coach K's last game at Cameron Indoor. And was this team going to be able to regroup and do anything in the tournament? I'm not going to lie, they made it farther than what I thought they would. But but they've handled this pressure well. I think they've, instead of folding under the pressure, they've risen to the challenge, and they've ran with it, and they've been playing well, and they've gained, and as they've played well, they've gained that momentum and more confidence. So now I think they're going to be tough to beat. But North Carolina is the same way. North Carolina has looked good. Has looked good the whole tournament after losing in the tournament to, I think it was Virginia Tech. I think it was they lost to in the ACC tournament. So both these teams have gotten hot at the right time, and they're on a collision course toward each other. And we're going to see what happens on Saturday night. And like I said, I expect the other game to be a real good game as well. Let's move over to the NBA. Let's talk a little NBA, then we'll move to the NFL. NBA, right now you have the Trailblazers and the Thunder are playing. Trailblazers up 61-58 at the half. Grizzlies defeated the Warriors 123-95. The Spurs got another, that's a big win for the Spurs, which we'll talk about that in a little bit as well, as they're battling for that last play-in spot with the Los Angeles Lakers, who lost another game last night. And I think LeBron got hurt, or LeBron hurt his ankle, might not play the next game. The Miami Heat defeated the Sacramento Kings tonight, 123-100. The Raptors got a win over the hot Celtics, who were on like a 6-game winning streak and had moved in the first place in the East. Celtics have been looking good, but they fall tonight 115-112 to the Raptors. The Knicks beat the Bulls 109-104, so the Bulls continue to struggle. Cavs win 107-101 over the Magic, over the Magic. The Atlanta Hawks defeat the Indiana Pacers 132-123. Pacers are terrible this year. That's my favorite team, and they've been horrible all year. Denver Nuggets defeat the Charlotte Hornets 113-109. I didn't think the Hornets was going to have enough left on a back-to-back after playing yesterday to take down the Nuggets tonight. Jokic is having a better season this year than he did last year when he won the MVP. And I know everybody thinks Embiid's going to get it, or I think Booker should be up there in the conversation more than he is. You don't hardly hear his name. Most people are saying, or just saying between Embiid and Jokic. And I think with the media narrative, they'll give it to Embiid before they do give it to Jokic for a second time, just because the media has been talking all year about how Embiid's been carrying this Philadelphia team. Embiid's put this Philadelphia team on his back. He's the MVP of this season. He's carried the Sixers without Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons turned his back on the Sixers, and Joel Embiid's carrying them. That's all you heard all year from the media. Joel Embiid this, Joel Embiid that. Blamed everything on Ben Simmons and how Joel Embiid was the MVP and he was carrying the Sixers. Don't get me wrong. He was Joel Embiid has had a phenomenal season, and he has carried the Sixers. But not no more than that. Jokic has carried the Nuggets. Jokic has put the Nuggets more on his back than what Embiid's had to do with the Sixers. Sixers were missing Simmons, okay. Nuggets had Jamal Murray out, Michael Porter Jr. out. Barton was out most of the season. He's been back now. Jokic had missed some games, but he's been back now. But they haven't had their second scorer and their third leading scorer on the team haven't had either one of them. I know Murray the whole season, and they didn't have Porter Jr. hardly at all. Both of them have been practicing and are close to coming back. And if Denver gets both Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. back in time for the playoffs, and they are healthy, this Nuggets team is going to be dangerous. Because look what Jokic has been able to do without him, and then you add them to that team, and you're telling me that they're not going to be even better. Nuggets are 44-31. So Jokic has led the Nuggets to a 44-31 record with the
the second leading scorer and the third leading scorer on the team have been out the whole season. But and they've had other injuries besides that as well. And you're telling me that the Sixers, that Joel Embiid has had to carry the Sixers more than Jokic has carried the Nuggets? Get the hell out of here. You're crazy. But that's all the media has told us all year. Is that Joel Embiid's the MVP. I think Booker should be up there. I don't know why Booker's not up there. Is in the conversation more with why he's been doing with Phoenix. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, it's because he has Chris Paul." Well, Chris Paul hasn't been there for the last few weeks, and look what Devin Booker has been doing. So I think Devin Booker. I think should be between Booker and Jokic myself. But with the way the media is, I think I wouldn't be surprised at all if Joel Embiid gets the NBA MVP. I don't think he should get it, but it wouldn't surprise me if he does. Phoenix Suns, I think, are the best team in the West. I don't know who's going to take them down. Denver, like I said, Denver, if they get everybody back, they're going to be healthy. I don't think the Jazz are going to be able to take the Suns down. The Lakers aren't going to make the playoffs. The Grizzlies are tough. Grizzlies are tough. I put them up there and top couple teams in the West. Golden State Warriors, when they get Curry back, they're going to be a tough out as well. But I just think the Suns have the most complete team, especially getting Chris Paul back. I think that's just going to make them even more dangerous. I think the Suns come out of the West this year, and I don't know who's going to beat them. I mean, the Nuggets, of course, I think have a chance if they get healthy. The Warriors are going to be right there if Curry's healthy. The Grizzlies are a tough team. So you can't dismiss them. But other than that, in the West, there's nobody else that I think's a real threat. Yeah, the Jazz are good, but I don't think the Jazz. I'm just not a believer in the Jazz, to be honest with you, and I don't think the Jazz are going to have enough in the playoffs to keep up with the Suns. Now, the East is a little bit more open. I mean, you have Boston, who has been hot as anybody in the East. They did lose tonight, but they were on a 6-game winning streak going into that. They've been playing some great basketball. They're going to be a tough out for anybody in a 7-game series. Of course, you have Milwaukee, who's going to be a tough out with Giannis and Holiday and all them there. So that's not going to – and then the Sixers are going to be a tough out. And I tell you what, team that people better not – I know some people are counting them out right now because they haven't been playing great, but don't count out the Brooklyn Nets. They get Irving back for – Irving can play all games now unless they play Toronto in the playoffs, and then he wouldn't be allowed to go to the away games in that series. But you have Irving back, Durant healthy. Get Seth Curry back. Curry's been playing great. Maxi's been playing well. And then I think I still believe Ben Simmons is going to come back for the playoffs. I know they've said he's not come back in the regular season, but I still think he's going to come back in the playoffs. And you add him to that team, and that'll even help that team defensively. The Nets are going to be a tough out as well. Kevin Durant's the best player in basketball right now, in my opinion. That dude can get to his spot basically whenever he wants. And you can't stop him. He's the closest thing to unguardable, I think, in the NBA right now. And Irving's been playing well. If they can get Simmons for the playoffs to help with the defense on that team, they're going to be a tough team to beat. And then you got the Bulls, who's a good team in the East, but I think the Bulls are more pretenders than they are contenders, just because look at the record against winning teams. They have a terrible record against playoff teams or teams that are going to be in the playoffs this season. The Bulls' record against playoff teams is terrible. They've done a good job of winning the games that they're expected to win, but they haven't done a good job of winning the games against the tougher competition in the league. And when you get in the playoffs, each round of the playoffs, you're facing the the toughest competition in the league. After that first round of the playoffs, a lot of the weaker teams are getting weeded out, and each round you're playing a better basketball team. In most cases, because it's a 7-game series, so in most cases the team that's the better team is going to win. Not always. Like I said, there's exceptions where you get an upset, and then a team might end up with after the matchup, the team might end up with an easier second round playoff series than they did in the first. It can happen. It happens every now and then, but not very often. Not in a 7-game series. A 7-game series, usually the better team is going to win. That's just how it works. That's how odds are. The better team is going to win most of the time when you play a 7-game series. Lakers, I don't think the Lakers are going to make the playoffs. Let me pull these standings up. I think are they tied for that 10th spot now? They're 1 game ahead of the Spurs in the loss column, but they're even with the Spurs in the win column for the 10th spot, which is the last spot in the play-in. And like I said, I'm pretty sure LeBron James is going to be missing the Lakers next game. Anthony Davis has returned to practice now, so he should be back here before too long. But it might be a little too late because, I mean, the way these Spurs are playing, the Lakers are going to have to win probably 6 or 7 of these last 10 games to make the play-in. And the way they've been playing, I don't see it happening. They blew like a 23-point lead last night to the Pelicans, which the Pelicans had got off to a terrible start in the season, had a terrible first half. And then started playing better, and now they've worked themselves up to the 9 seed. They're only one game ahead of the Lakers, and that's after they beat the Lakers last night. You have the Clippers at the 8 seed, which they have about a 4 or 5 game lead on anybody after that. So the Clippers, unless they just was to lose the rest of their games, they pretty much are going to set in that 8 seed. They're 3 games. Yeah, they're like 3 games behind the Minnesota Timberwolves for that 7th spot. The Nuggets are in the 6th spot, which if you had told me at the beginning of the season that the Nuggets without Jamal Murray and without Michael Porter Jr. For most of the season that the Nuggets would be in the 6th seed, I wouldn't have believed you. Jazz are in the 5th seed. You have the Mavericks in the 4th seed. 3rd seed's the Warriors. Grizzlies have moved into the 2nd seed, and you have the Phoenix Suns, who are 61-14. They're like 8 games in front of 8.5 games in front of the Grizzlies in first. So the Lakers are almost tied with the Spurs, and the Spurs own the tiebreaker over the Lakers. So if the Spurs and the Lakers tie for this 10th seed, the Spurs will get it. I'm not sure. I can't remember exactly what the tiebreaker was, but I know I did read earlier that the Lakers, or not the Lakers, excuse me, that the Spurs have the tiebreaker. So Lakers are. I would say the Lakers are going to win 6 or 7 of these last 10 games to have a legitimate shot at holding on to this 10th seed and being in this play-in. Even if they get in the play-in, I don't see the Lakers doing anything in the playoffs. They just don't have that good of a team. The team was poorly constructed. They're old. They traded away all their young talent and went old. Don't understand it. I think they're probably regretting it now. I don't know or how much influence LeBron James had on that, or what Rob Pelinka was thinking. I know LeBron had influence on bringing in Westbrook and trading them guys away, which I still soon since day one I've said I didn't think Westbrook was going to work with the Lakers. That I didn't like the move. I just didn't see it working. You put another guy at the ball that has to have the ball, another ball stopper on that team. When LeBron's your facilitator, it didn't make a whole lot of sense. to pair him with LeBron and Anthony Davis. His style just didn't match up with theirs. So I still don't know what the Lakers were thinking in that. But I don't think the Lakers are going to make the playoffs. I think the Spurs are going to end up taking that. Or I don't think the Lakers are going to make the play-in, I should say. I think the Spurs are going to take that last play-in spot. But hey, the Lakers are going to have to go on a run here toward the end of the season, and LeBron hurting his ankle last night isn't going to help them chances at all. Not at all. It's not going to help them chances one bit. I know that. I think Anthony Davis practiced for the first time today, but still, even if you get Davis back, if they don't have LeBron, they're definitely not doing any damage, even if they do make the play-in. Because Anthony Davis isn't going to lead them nowhere, especially that team without LeBron. Anthony Davis has shown he's not that guy. He's not that guy that's going to carry him. Man, to me, I think that was Will Smith being soft. I mean, dude, all them award shows. I was actually going to get to that before I got off, but at all the award shows, man, how many times do you hear guys get up there and roast on a couple of the stars? They're sitting in the front row and crack jokes and stuff. And I mean, Chris Rock's a comedian. He was doing what he does, and Will Smith was laughing. Will Smith was over laughing his ass off about it until Jada gave him that look. Then all of a sudden he got mad about it and went up there and slapped him. He's lucky Chris Rock isn't pressing charges. I've heard all these people talking about how Smith was a hero and defending. Man, no, that's just being soft, man. That stuff happens all the time. And for some reason, and if it would have, I still don't understand why the Oscars didn't escort the dude out of the show. If that would have happened about any other show and to anybody else, you're telling me they wouldn't have made the guy leave if we're just going up there and slapping somebody? I mean, yeah, it was crazy, though. It's definitely wasn't what I was expecting. Yes, that's why I said Rock should have rocked his ass. Definitely what I wasn't expecting to hear coming out of the Oscars, that Will Smith was going to slap Chris Rock. You definitely don't expect that from the Oscars. Of course, I wasn't watching. I was watching sports, and I heard about it, and I've seen all the videos. But yeah, man, that shows you how soft we're getting as a society when a comedian can't even tell a joke anymore. A joke that's, if it was told even, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, it wouldn't have it wouldn't have happened like it did last night. And if it did, you wouldn't have everybody taking Will Smith. Well, I shouldn't say everybody, but a big percentage of people taking Will Smith's side on it. About 10, I don't know, 6, 7 years ago, about everybody would have been on Chris Rock's side on this. But now that the world has got a little softer, I wouldn't want to be a comedian right now in these times where it's an act. I mean, them guys are up there performing just like an actor or anybody else, and people take what they're saying during that act as that's their belief or it's a fact. No, it's part of their act, just like an actor, just like any TV show you watch. You go watch these guys are performing. Just because they say something on stage doesn't mean that's how they feel. And in this day and age, yeah, I wouldn't want to be a comedian. Not at all. All right, in the NFL, before we get out of here, we'll talk a little NFL. Talking about possibly changing the overtime rule for the NFL, making it where no matter what, both teams get possession. I know one of the things I saw said both teams get possession basically no matter what. And then the other one I saw was where both teams get possession unless the first team scores a touchdown and converts a 2-point conversion. But if they just score a touchdown and kick the extra point, the other team gets a chance to match it. If they get a touchdown 2-point conversion, then that would just be the end of the game. I think that'll get voted on here real soon. I think they have to get like 24 or more votes for it to go through. I'm a fan of letting where both teams get to possess the ball, because it does suck to watch a game and then you know that whoever wins the coin toss is going to win the game because the other defense isn't going to be able to stop them from scoring that touchdown. So I'd like to see both teams get a chance to possess the ball. But on the other side of that, I also understand the people that don't like it. I also understand the people that think leave it how it is or take it back to how it used to be, where it was just sudden death, and even if the first team kicked the field goal, game was over. I don't like that. I would rather, if they don't change it, I'd rather them just keep it how they have it now, where both teams get possession unless the first team scores a touchdown. Because I mean, it's right. Both teams had the same amount. I mean, had a fair chance, same amount of chance to score and win that game during regulation. So, hey, if you want to possess the ball and they get it first, your defense has to make a stop. You depend on your defense for the rest of the game. So why can't you depend on your defense in overtime? So I understand that argument of it, but just as a fan of football, I would like to see both teams possess it, just because you put them offenses out there more times. That's more chances of seeing explosive plays and seeing some more points scored. So, and I'm all for more football. And that's what that would be. So I'm not against the rule, but I'm also not going to bash people that or get down on or really argue with people that think that the rule shouldn't change, because I understand your point in that as well, because both teams had a fair chance to win the game, and when that didn't take advantage of all the opportunities that they had to score points and win that game during regulation. So I understand your points. Hey, it should just be sudden death. So I really don't have a problem with it either way. I see the argument both ways. Like I said, just myself, I'd kind of like to see it change, just because that's more football, more chances to see some explosive plays and just watch more football. So that'd be fine with me. 49ers still haven't decided what they're going to do with Jimmy G. Only report I've heard so far is that in no scenario do they plan on releasing him. So I would say if they don't find a trade partner for him, that they're going to keep him. This kind of shows me maybe that they're not sold. Maybe they're not sold on Lance as much as they're trying to portray to everyone outside. I think maybe they've realized that, hey, we might have screwed up by drafting this kid so high in the draft. I'm not saying at all, before people go crazy, I'm not saying at all that Trey Lance isn't going to be a good quarterback in the NFL, because hey, he might turn out to be real great. I'm just saying that right now the 49ers don't believe that he's ready, and they're feeling like they might have wasted a picking him as high as they did. I think they're realizing they drafted a project, the guy that was going to take maybe 3 or 4 years or more to develop, than a guy that was going to be able to come in ready to play either in his first year or even his second year. I think they drafted a guy that still is going to need maybe a year or more before he's ready. You have to remember, right, he wasn't a guy that played a whole lot of college football. And it wasn't like he had a great season in his last year in college. So it was kind of crazy that they moved up and pulled the trigger on and to pick him that soon in the draft, especially when Mac Jones was still available. I still think they made a mistake there. I mean, we'll see. I mean, I hope the kid develops and ends up being good, because I want to see all these guys that make it there. Hey, make that money. I mean, but I don't want to see nobody not have a chance. But I just think they overdrafted him. I think he was maybe a late first round to an early second round was where he should have fell in the draft instead of third or fourth. I think they just highly overdrafted the kid. And that just like the same thing that the Packers did with Jordan Love. You overdraft these guys, then their expectations are even higher. So then you're in a bigger hurry to try to get them on the field. But if these guys aren't progressing like you think they need to progress to be ready to be on the field, then it makes you the GM, and it makes the guys that decided to draft these guys look even worse when these guys can't live up to them expectations. Where if you'd have took the guy late in the first round, early in the second round, and you didn't move up to get him, especially when both of you have quarterbacks that have played well, then that's when that pressure even builds up more. It's because why did you even draft this guy to begin with? But I think the 49ers are starting to realize that they overdrafted him, and I think it would be smart for them to keep a hold of Garoppolo. If you're not sure on Lance, I start Garoppolo another year. You can say what you want about Garoppolo, that he's not a Super Bowl winning quarterback, whatever, but hey, the dude wins games. Look at the 49ers winning percentage when Garoppolo plays versus when Garoppolo doesn't play. The dude wins games. But for some reason, it seems like everybody loves to hate on Garoppolo. Jimmy G is not that bad. I can think of a lot worse quarterbacks you could have on your team right in the NFL than a Jimmy G. But all right, we're going to get out of here for tonight, but I want to thank everybody for joining us. Don't forget, show times are changing. Easy Money, a sports betting show, is going to be Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern, starting this Wednesday, March 30th. Also starting this Wednesday, March 30th, I'm also excited to announce that we will also be, Easy Money, a sports betting show, will also be airing on the All Sports, All Plays Network, ASAP Sports Network. It's a great network, great group of guys over there. I've been on shows over there now for the last couple months. I do the morning show over there. I also do a show on there on Scripted with Jay McLovin and Logan Landers on there on Tuesdays and Thursday nights. Getting ready to start doing an afternoon show on the All Sports, All Plays ASAP Network. Starting on Wednesday. It's going to be from 1 to around 3, 1 p.m. Eastern time to about 3 Eastern time, Monday through Friday. Then Easy Money, a sports betting show, will be right after that. It'll also be Easy Money, a sports betting show, will still be aired on the Gonzo'S Sports Room, YouTube and Facebook and Twitch, just like normal. It'll just now be aired on the ASAP Sports YouTube and Facebook and Twitter channels and all that as well. It's just I think it's going to be a good thing for both of us. I'm excited about it. So that's one reason for the time changes. G.S.R. we're going to start doing at 11 p.m. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. That way, by 11 o'clock, most of the sports are ending, and we can kind of recap the day in sports. So that's the new time changes. So follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. That's where we post all the information about our shows. The new time changes are already posted on our social media accounts. Like I say, they start this Wednesday. Easy Money, a sports betting show, will be moving to 3 p.m. Eastern, and G.S.R. Gonzo'S Sports Room will be moving to 11 p.m. Eastern. Everything else with the network is staying the same. The GWR new episodes of Gonzo Wrestling Room GWR podcast will still drop every Sunday at 9. We'll still have the GWR live pro wrestling interviews, and it will still be just on different days, and we'll announce what times and days that those are. Just depends on when we can get those lined up. We're still going to be doing the live streaming of the independent pro wrestling and all that. Speaking of that, we done a show yesterday, Warrior Pro Wrestling. It was WPW7. It was a great pro wrestling show. Go check that out on our YouTube page at Gonzo'S Sports Room. You won't be disappointed. Like I said, Warrior Pro Wrestling put on a great show yesterday. We also went to a show on Friday night, WCWO. It was their end of the month show called Madness. It was a great show as well. You can find that on the WCWO Facebook and YouTube pages. We're not going to be anywhere this Saturday or this weekend because it's WrestleMania weekend. So we'll be home for that. We are going to be live Friday night. I'll announce exactly what time. We're going to do like a live watch along with WWE SmackDown and with the WWE Hall of Fame with the Undertaker ceremony. And Saturday and Sunday, I'll be at my dad's watching WrestleMania. So we won't be doing no pro wrestling shows this weekend. Next weekend, we'll be in Jeffersonville, Indiana, doing a pro wrestling show. I'll be putting out more information about that. That's Flex for Bubba 2. It's a benefit show for this young kid that has epilepsy, that's had a bunch of brain surgeries. It still has like 3 or 4 more surgeries to go. And it's a show to help raise money to help him and his family out. So I'll get more information about that. If you can help with that, that'd be awesome. And then April 16th, Bearcat Rumble here in Muncie, Indiana. It's a fundraiser to help the Muncie Wrestling Club, Muncie Central Wrestling Team, and the Wrestling Club. DCCW puts it on. This will be the 2nd year. It has a great card. Carlito, former WWE star Carlito, former WWE stars Epico and Primo are all going to be in attendance in wrestling. And also making a special appearance is WWE Hall of Famer Rikishi. It'll be April 16th here in Muncie, Indiana. You can find more information on that on the Gonzo Sports Room social media and Delaware County Championship Wrestling on Facebook. All right, don't forget the time change. Easy Money, a sports betting show, will now be at 3 p.m. Eastern starting this Wednesday, and G.S.R. Gonzo Sports Room will now be at this time, 11 p.m. Eastern. From now on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. We will see you guys tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. It'll be the last time for Easy Money, a sports betting show, being at 1. We will see you guys tomorrow for that. Hope everybody has a great night. Stay safe. Peace.